Hey, hello there, welcome back to the Big Will Update today. As right now we have Invest 90E, and also we have a slight risk across the next 3 days. And then also, what else that needs to be said? Nothing really much. Excessive rainfall, day 2 and 3 of a marginal, day 2, then slight risk, day 3. So, yeah, let's get right into it. Across the southern hemisphere and northern Indian Ocean and also the western Pacific, there is nothing active right now, luckily. However, though, looking at the tropics right now, we're right across the eastern Pacific. Right now we're looking at Invest 90E, and of course, right now it's a 40% chance of developing the next 48 hours. With the next 5 days, 60%. It's more of just gonna be the next 2 days, 2 to 3 days, and then after conditions are gonna be slowly becoming unfavorable. If it does form, it's gonna be expected to be pretty short-lived. So yeah. So moving on from that, right now we have red flag warnings across California, North Dakota, Montana, Utah, Colorado, then South Carolina, Georgia, New Mexico, and then also we have across Michigan, Wisconsin. We have a freeze warning, and then also across Oregon as well, with a couple other scatter flood warnings and other advisories and stuff. Anyways, looking at surface analysis right now, we're seeing that low pressure surface low across Colorado and maybe a small area of Kansas. This is going to be bringing some potential severe weather tonight, going into the next 2 days, as it's going to be pushing more off to the east. And also, we have a couple cold fronts located across the southeast, and then also across the Midwest and the West Coast. But anyways, moving on to tomorrow. Right now we're seeing thunderstorms possible across Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Tennessee, South Dakota, maybe a portion of small areas of Nebraska, North Dakota, with mixing possible across areas across the Rocky Mountains, maybe the Northeast. However, though, this is going to be setting up for something tomorrow, later, as we have a slight risk. We'll be getting into that later. And yeah. So moving on, we have thunderstorms possible across Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Missouri, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, with showers possible across the Rockies as the system be pushing more off to the east. Anyways, though, moving on. Right now we have thunderstorms as well. On Monday, we're looking at thunderstorms possible across Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and then also Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Mexico, Colorado, and Utah, maybe a small area of Wyoming and Idaho. So moving on right now, we're looking at thunderstorms possible across Florida, Georgia, and also Alabama, Mississippi, and then Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and then also Colorado as this system will be more of a stationary boundary, as the main loads are going to be mostly across Texas, and then digging down into New Mexico, and then also actual Mexico. The system continues to push off to the east, bringing the surface low with it, as right now we have thunderstorms possible across Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and also for Texas or Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia as well, as it's going to continue the push off to the east. Moving on to Tuesday, right now we're seeing thunderstorms possible across South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and also for Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. The system continues to drive off to the east. Flash flooding can't be ruled out actually across the next 7 days across the southeast, because how much rain could be potentially seeing. We'll be into the rainfall amounts later on. And moving on to day 7, right now we're looking at thunderstorms possible across Florida, as the system's going to be finally coming off the coast of the U.S. as severe potential. Next 3 days is more of a slight risk, and after that it's very unpredictable and what could occur. And then looking at the severe weather in the next 8 days, as right now we have slight risk across Texas, Oklahoma, marginal across Texas, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado, Wyoming, then Montana, then also for southern Florida. Day 2, we're looking at Missouri, so Nebraska, Kansas, and a slight risk, and then marginal risk across Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and then also Colorado, Nebraska, and Missouri. Day 3, we're looking at Indiana, not in slight risk for Texas, maybe a small area of Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, small area of also Missouri, and also for Tennessee, Mississippi. Marginal risk across Tennessee, maybe a small area of Alabama, then southern Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and Kentucky, if I haven't said it, Louisiana, and Texas. That's really it for the next 3 days. Day 4 through 8 is predictability is too low. In the areas of the slight risk, we're looking at 15% hail, 5% wind across Montana. We're looking at 5% hail, 5% wind. And also the other marginal risk, we're looking at 5% hail, 5% wind. So anyways, looking at tomorrow right now, in the slight risk, we have a 5% tornado, 15% wind, 15% significant hail. And then across, it's going to be more when you dig down towards Oklahoma and Texas. We're looking at more of a 5% hail, 5% wind. But tomorrow, it's going to be starting out, maybe some supercells are possible. It's become linear, it's going to become more of a wind threat. And then looking at the day 3 right now, we have 15% probabilistic chance of all modes of severe weather. And then 5% as well across the marginal risk. A lot of uncertainty lies upon this, and saying can pinpoint where the worst of severe weather is going to occur right now is quite unknown, especially when models aren't really indicating that much. So anyways, looking at the 7-day precipitation right now across the southeast, several inches are possible, especially across the Louisiana Arkansas border, and then stretch from Illinois all the way through New Jersey, where also several inches of rain is possible. It's going to definitely be a rainy period, especially across the eastern side of the U.S. So currently, tomorrow, there's a marginal risk of excessive rainfall across Illinois, Missouri, Nebraska, Iowa, and Kansas. Again, heavy rainfall is possible through tomorrow. Maybe a couple inch or 2 is possible, especially across that marginal risk. Looking at day 3 right now, we have a marginal across Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky, and then also another marginal risk across Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, and then Arkansas, and then Mississippi. Slight risk across Mississippi, Louisiana, and also Arkansas. Tornado drown, flash flooding is one of the leading killers in the U.S. Don't get yourself in that situation. So currently looking at the CPCL for the next 6 to 10 days right now across the western side of the U.S. Above average temperatures is expected, and across the eastern side of the U.S. we're expected below average temperatures, exceptions for Florida, of course. Gets me very mad, of course. Then look at the precipitation outlook across the central states, going through Montana and then the northeast. Above average precipitation again for Florida. The rest of the southeast is below average, and the western side is below average, of course. Again, now looking at the 8 to 14 day outlook, much of the U.S. is now has above average chance of receiving above average temperatures, including Florida, of course, and then the West Coast is actually below average. And then looking at the precipitation outlook, we're still looking at above average across central states in the northwest, still including Florida, southern Florida this time though. Across the east coast and the southwest, below average precipitation is still expected. That's really it for today's video weather update. Hopefully that's really it. And yeah, TGHQ is under a marginal risk of flash of excessive rainfall tomorrow. We might get a weather update. Yeah, there's probably a low chance, to be very honest with you. But yeah. Apart from that, it's really it. And I hope you did enjoy. And yeah, goodbye.